Welcome to Startup Grind.
Thanks for having me here.
Where have you been?
What do you mean?
We haven't seen you. You were like very.
I was working. I was working.
You've been working.
Yeah.
Okay. What have you been working on?
Well, we just launched a brand new version of Basecamp, Basecamp 3.
Yeah.
Every 4 years or so, we redo Basecamp from scratch. So all new code base, all new design, everything. We force ourselves to reinvent the product. And so we just did that last year and launched it in late 2015. So I've been heads down working, and now that work is kind of over in that way, I'm out here speaking again.
Great. We're gonna dig into lots of different subjects. Really thrilled to have you for the first time. The first thing is that 37 Signals, which was kind of the parent company of all these products that you guys built, is now Basecamp, right?
Right.
And Basecamp.com.
Yes.
Yeah. And that for a long time, like was it BasecamphQ.com? Was
Yes.
that the URL?
Yes.
Yeah. So you finally got the domain.
Yes.
No?
No, we did. 12 years later, we finally got the domain.
Yeah. What did that cost?
$275,000.
Honestly, that doesn't seem that bad.
Well, it's kind of offensive, to be honest, but it's a lot of cash. It's ridiculous and stupid to spend that kind of money. And we did it 12 years into our business. So I feel okay with that because I kind of amortized it over 12 years and like it's not that bad.
Right.
But I would never, ever do that starting a business. It's the wrong place to spend money. Your domain doesn't matter. Just get whatever you can. Doesn't matter, especially these days. And save money and don't spend it on stupid stuff like that.
That's. I mean, I know it is a ton of money and
Ridiculous.
A ridiculous amount of money.
It's stupid amount.
But considering like how many people, including myself, went to Basecamp.com hundreds of times thinking I was going to the right place.
Yeah.
I would have just naturally thought they would have somehow. Do you have any advice for people trying to buy domains? I mean, you must have.
Don't waste money on them, basically.
Okay.
I mean, for 10 years, we were at BasecamphQ.com. We built a multi-million-dollar business. We did whatever we wanted, and we did fine. So, like, the domain did not matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly, I'm sure some people went to Basecamp.com, but we still found enough people to go to BasecamphQ.com. So it doesn't really matter.
Has it been worth it? Is it?
Yeah, I feel really good that we have the domain now, but I would not have felt good had we spent the money early.
How critical was writing and blogging and speaking to you all's early success of building a brand and getting your marketing out? Like how critical, it seemed like you guys are you're very authentic, so you do it because you want to do it, you think it's the right thing to do, but how important did it become in your success?
Everything. We don't have a formal marketing budget, we don't have any salespeople, we don't have any marketing people really. So for us, it's always been about teaching and sharing as much as we possibly can. We've written books, we've gone out and done speaking engagements, we've done workshops, we've talked about a lot of things. We're very outspoken, and for us, that's how we get the word out, how we get the message out. And it's a more authentic way because when you speak from your heart and you tell people the truth, they listen and they appreciate it, even if they disagree, versus being sold or marketed to where people just don't believe anything they hear that way.
So your company was just valued at $100 billion.
$100 billion.
Wow. Well, you want to tell us?
They don't get the joke, right?
Do you want to tell us how that happened?
Yeah, so someone invested $1 and they bought 0.0801%, which if you do the math equals 100 billion. That's how ridiculous valuations are and how completely obscene and stupid that whole world is. So I actually don't know what we're worth. I don't care. I don't think about it for a day. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have any effect on our business or any effect on our customers, so I just don't pay any attention to it.
What do you think?
So that was a gag. Like we did this post to this like fake press release about being worth 100 billion because of this. We had like a dollar bill taped to the wall and a Post-it note on it, and that was what we did.
Tell us what you think about these companies that have raised so much money because they could, is what it always said. Like I did it because I could.
Yeah.
And now here we are. The tide is changing. The tide is going out.
Yeah.
What do you think about these companies?
Well, I don't really care. Is the truth because I get it. Like money's very cheap, but every dollar bill has a string attached. And if you have $1 million or raised $5 million or 500 million, you've got 500 million strings attached. I don't like to do business with strings attached, and I don't like to owe people things. I don't like to be on someone else's clock. I don't like to have to go public or sell the business or something on someone else's schedule because they want their money back, which is why we've always been bootstrapped and we're completely funded by customer revenues. So for us, I find raising obscene amounts of money to be kind of silly. I think it clearly works for some. But the venture capital business is one of the worst businesses there is. Basically, if you look at returns and you look at success rates, it's terrible. And so it's interesting that a business that lends money, or an industry that lends a lot of money, has such a terrible track record in itself. So I just don't want to take money from that sort of world. I'd rather sell a product and have customers pay for it and live within our own means than borrow someone else's money.
With that in mind,
and by the way, you can build a wonderful business. Like, we've been in business for 16 years. I don't give exact numbers, but we generate tens of millions of dollars in profits every year. We are an LLC, and we do things our own way and don't answer to anybody but our customers and ourselves. And you can absolutely do that. So you don't have to buy into the myth that you need to raise a bunch of money to do these sorts of things. Most businesses in the world are like ours. Self-funded businesses. Most businesses in the world, almost no businesses in the world are venture funded, if you really look at the number of businesses that are created. So it's a tiny slice in this industry sort of thinks of itself as people in this industry who don't know, they think that's the way to start a business, but actually it's not the way to start most businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
And have you ever, what's the closest you ever got? I mean, Sequoia Partners, I don't know this, but I'm just assuming.
Yeah.
I'm sure these guys have flown their jets out to meet with you in Chicago at some point or another, many times probably. Have you ever, almost, that moment, where you almost tipped your toe in there,
right.
Maybe it's a good idea. Have you come close?
We took money in 2006 from Jeff Bezos. So
right.
Jeff Bezos owns a small piece of our company, but that money wasn't put into the business. He bought shares from me and David, my business partner. So that money went to us. So it was a little bit of money off the table to reduce our overall risk. So the company's always been funded by customers. And we've been reached, all the usual suspects have gotten in touch over the years about it. And I don't have anything really against them. That's their business, and I understand. It's just not for us. I don't want their money. I don't need their money. I wouldn't know what to do with their money, to be honest. So I'm just not interested in it.
What about these companies? Do you take those meetings or no?
No.
Yeah, not at all. Do you reply? Do you do archive? What do you do?
I reply to everybody, and I just say we're not looking for money. I have kind of a standard reply because they send me a standard email, right? Their emails are all the same. It's like, check out our $100 billion fund, and it's all the same. It's never about us. It's always about them, which is basically if you're going to cold email people, talk about the person you're emailing, not themselves. But venture capital business isn't really good at that. They love to talk about themselves and how big their fund is.
How great they are.
Anyway, so they do that, and then I always politely reply, because it's just someone's job, and I understand, and so I'm polite. I just say, we're not looking for money now or later. Feel free to reach out down the road, but the answer will probably be the same.
Yeah.
I have met with a few people who I really just respect in the industry that I like, but never because we're looking for money.
On the Bezos, do you interact with him?
We can if we need to.
Do you send him pictures of your Amazon box and stuff when you see him? I love you.
We used to see him a lot more, but a lot meaning once a year.
Okay.
And we haven't seen him for a few years. They check in on us occasionally. So what's nice for them is that since we're an LLC and we're a profitable company, they get distributions every year. So they've made their money back and more. And so we're actually kind of paying for their rent, I'm sure. And so that we have to submit numbers to them occasionally, and if we have a big hairy question that we can't solve, would like some advice on, we can get in touch with Jeff and set up a call and do that.
Okay.
But he's not involved day to day or month to month or year to year really.
Yeah.
Unless we ask him.
Can you talk about just how that works? Because that is really unique. So I want to talk about working at Basecamp. There's some really, really cool things you guys do that put a lot of companies to shame and probably our own. But no one holds shares except for you and David and then Jeff.
That's it.
So
we don't have a board either.
You don't have a board, yeah.
No.
So what does that mean? You just at the end of the year you just distribute the cash, or how does that work?
Yeah. So LLC at the end of the year, whatever money's left over, we just distribute that to the founder or to the unit owners or members based on how many units each person has, and then everyone pays individual income tax on that.
Yeah.
So it's a very cash-based business in that way.
So let's talk about working at Basecamp, headquartered in Chicago.
Yes.
You have some really horrible things, like you work 4 days in the summer. You have a $100 fitness budget. You go on these 1-month sabbaticals. You can work from anywhere. 3 weeks, 40-hour paid vacation. You force people to go on vacation.
Yes.
And you
We pay for their
for the vacation.
Yes.
Yeah. So why are you ruining it for everyone else?
Well, first of all, we didn't start that way. So we're a frugal company in the way we spend our money, and we're very conservative in that sense. And then we've been around for a while, and now it's time to spend some of our largesse, basically. And I'd rather spend it on employees. Every year we put together a menu of 16 wonderful trips around the world that people can choose from, and we pay for those. For them, for their family, whatever it might be. And we take care of people, because I want people to be around. I believe in treating people well and treating people and giving people experiences that they'll remember forever. We used to give bonuses, cash bonuses. You give someone a bonus, they give them a few grand, whatever it is. They spend it on stuff, but it's not memorable. You send someone to Morocco for 4 days with their family or a week or whatever, they'll always remember that. You send them on safari, they'll always remember that. That helps make them a more interesting person, a better person. They get an experience they might not have had. And so we do things like that. We pay for people's hobbies as well. So if you want to learn how to play guitar, I'll pay for that. And it has nothing to do with work. It doesn't cost us that much money, but it's all about when your company wants you to be an interesting person and wants you to explore things outside of work, it says that this is not just about work.
Yeah.
That, have a life outside of that, and we want to encourage that.
My father-in-law has had a 4-day work week his entire adult life, and he goes golfing every Friday morning by himself. And I would love to do it. I really, really want to do it. It's I don't know, maybe the guy that smoked his whole life and really wants to stop smoking. I really want to work 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I can't.
Yeah.
So how do I do that? And do you
take next Friday off? So here's the thing.
Is that okay? Am I getting? You giving me permission?
Yes, you can do that.
Thank you, sir.
So, it's kind of interesting because just do that, and you'll see that the world doesn't end and the business doesn't go under. And you're like, that's not so bad. Maybe I can do that next week, or maybe I'll just take one Friday off a month.
So should just I? Because if I go,
everybody
it's cool,
should.
But what about the other people?
Everybody should. Give
then
everybody
I'm
next
a
Friday off.
Out if everybody's gone.
Everybody. No, I mean, so
But
here's what we do.
Email at home, or
here's what we do. So we have Fridays off in the summer.
Yeah.
But we have to provide 24/7 support for our customers. So we stagger the off day for customer service and ops. So if someone takes a Tuesday
off. But you have
off.
people working weekends then, anyways, because you need to have somebody there.
We have weekend shifts.
Yeah,
for
that's
certain
what
people.
I mean.
Yeah. So we have full coverage for customers. Customers don't take the penalty of us not being around. There's always someone around for them. But everyone else, we're on a regular schedule of having Fridays off. And so I think what's nice is it's similar to people who are like, I want to work from home, but my company doesn't let me. Just encourage your boss to let you do it one afternoon a month to start. Just show that the world's not going to end. Because that's the big fear. You're like, if I'm not working on Friday, shit's going to hit the fan. It won't hit the fan. There's no shit and it won't hit the fan. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And so just do that once a month, and then you kind of ease into maybe twice a month, and you see where the right balance is, because it might not be the right balance for you every Friday. Maybe it's twice a month. I don't know. But just try some of these things, and you'll see that business has momentum behind it. You don't need to keep pushing the rock. The rock's got some power on its own, and you can't not push it forever because it will stop. But you can take a Friday off. It'll be fine. I encourage everyone to take next Friday off.
That would be cool.
And just work 40-hour weeks, too. You don't...
Okay, let's talk about this.
You want to get into that?
So, I don't even know where to begin on this.
I can start.
Go ahead.
40 hours is enough time to do great work. 40 hours. 40 hours per person is a lot of time. And what ends up happening is people blow it on other things, which is why they're working longer hours. It's not because there's more work to do. It's because people aren't getting work done at work. And there's a variety of reasons for that. Too many meetings, too many managers, chats open all day. We're very anti that.
What do you do? How do you police that? Take away the sabbatical?
No, we don't police it. It's just we discourage it. So chat's great for occasional quick hashing things out, but when you leave it open all day in the corner of your screen, you're just asking for yourself not to be working.
Yeah, it's like looking at your phone constantly.
It's an all-day meeting with random participants and no agenda.
Yeah.
That's what a chat room is. And so we're very careful about that. So you squeeze out some of the stuff that you waste a lot of time on, and then you find out, man, I got 40 hours. That's a lot of time to do a lot of great work. And if I can't get it done this week, we'll get it done next week. So I just think it's very important because, especially when you're starting out, people always say, well, when you started out, did you have to work a lot more hours? And I probably did early on, but what ends up happening is that you begin to form habits. And the things humans are habitual, so the things we keep doing, we think we have to keep doing. And so if you put in 80-hour weeks when you're first getting started, you're probably still working 80-hour weeks. It's very rare that you stop working 80-hour weeks if that's what you think you need to do to be successful. So it takes a lot of discipline to say, I don't need to put in that much time. Let's work on squeezing out stuff we don't need to be doing, and then apply that extra save time on things we can be doing instead. And you can get an awful lot done in 40 hours.
What about from the engineering side? Because sometimes it feels like the first 4 or 5 hours, you might not make any progress, and then it's like those last 2 or 3, or you have that kind of that breakthrough moment.
Yeah.
Can you get those can you get those consistently working 7, 8 hours a day?
You can if you have uninterrupted stretches of time. And so this is sort of the secret to actually getting a lot of work done is you have to give people stretches of time to get work done. Chat room breaks your day up into 100 different moments, 100 different pieces. You can't get into a zone if you're constantly looking over there and responding and getting back to work and constantly looking over there because there's another unread thing and responding. You don't have the time, and you've got to get into a zone. It's like sleeping. Working and sleeping are the same. If you interrupted somebody all night long, would you say they got a good night's sleep? No. If you interrupt people all day long, how can you say they get a good day's work? You cannot say that, and it's true that you can't do it. So you got to think about sleep and work as the same thing, and so you got to cut down on the interruptions, and then you can give people 3 or 4 hours of uninterrupted time, and then maybe they break for something, whatever. So we really encourage people to just be quiet. Don't bother each other unless it's really, really, really important, really, truly important, and then it matters. Otherwise, heads down. You can do a lot of great work if you have 3 hours straight to do it. If you have 3 hours chunked up across the day, you're not getting 3 hours of work done because there's mental switching costs, there's jumping back and forth, context shifting, and your 3 hours are really, you've got edges on the side of each moment that you can't really use, so you've got these small chunks of time, and then you can't be productive. It's a very different way of working, and I know that there's a lot of people right now are just obsessed with looking at this window all the time, and it's not good. It really isn't good.
I agree, and what you're saying makes complete sense.
Yeah. And the only reason, by the way, we've been around group chat for 10 years. So we came out with something called Campfire in 2006. So we've seen what it does to your day. Yeah. And so we're very careful. Our basic motto is real time sometimes, asynchronous most of the time. Asynchronous means like posting a message or traditional comment threads where people can have time to get back to people later on.
Yeah.
And so they don't have to feel like they have to answer everything now. Most things do not need to be discussed right now. Very, very, very few things are elevated to right now. And so anyway.
And a chat conversation can devolve, like even one little thing, and pretty soon it's 30, 40 minutes, and
you've got 8 people involved, and nothing happens.
People are involved.
It's a terrible place to make decisions. There's a lot of downsides to it. It's wonderful for certain things. There's no question about it. But you got to be careful about drawing that line.
I've used Basecamp for a number of years. It's one of these handful products that I would tell the founder that I use your product more than you use your product.
Well, thank you.
It's probably not true, but I use it a lot.
Yeah.
And you guys are very big proponents of simplicity and keeping it simple. And maybe I'm an edge case. All of our global communities, we have 300. We're in Basecamp 2 still, but 300 projects, 300 Basecamps, 500 users in there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we outgrew some of the things where it was like we just needed more.
Yeah.
I mean, we like simple. We're tech people, but like how we're all building our products, and how do you guys look at that with Basecamp to say like I'm sure I can just imagine the people like give me these features.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're getting it all day long.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we do.
And it's like no, we're taking stuff out, and it's like people probably are screaming at you.
Yeah, it happens.
So like, how do you do that, and why not create more functionality for somebody that's a pro user, or super user?
So the trick is balance, because we've well over 130 something thousand paying customers now.
Right.
Okay. So we have a lot of people with a lot of, and these aren't users because we don't charge per user. That's
right.
accounts. There might be hundreds of users at these accounts, right? So a lot of people use our product. A lot of people use Basecamp. And so we hear from a lot of them. And one person's you must have would be another person's don't you dare add that. So you've got to understand how to balance that. And it's a real challenge. So I'm also comfortable with people outgrowing products. I think we outgrow everything in life. We outgrow relationships sometimes. We outgrow certain cars. We outgrow clothes. We outgrow food choices. Our taste, like we outgrow a lot of things.
Aren't you giving away the market though? I mean, aren't you like, you're...
No, because there's always more people at the low end who want simple than there are people at the high end who want complicated. Always. There's always a new batch of freshmen every year. People are struggling with figuring out how the hell to work. They're trying to piece together a bunch of different products. It's really complicated. They've got to onboard people across 5 things. They got to pay 6 different bills.
But you brought me in at the beginning, and now I have grown with you, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm at Google Apps. So I pay. This is the other thing.
Yeah.
Basecamp is freaking cheap. Like I don't want my bill to go up. I don't want my bill to go up. But
Yeah.
I don't know that this is going to change that. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm willing to talk about it. But I pay Google Apps for the same amount of users, $25,000 a year.
Yeah.
Okay, I pay Basecamp,
Yeah.
which the price is going down.
Yeah.
Like 3,000 or 1,500 something. I don't,
Probably.
it's so small. It doesn't even register
Yeah.
with me. But like, you know, and you have Slack and you have these other companies coming in and charging these per user rates.
Yeah.
It's freaking expensive.
It is.
And yet we're still paying it.
Yeah.
And so like, why don't you raise the price? I mean, on everyone but me.
We should. I think our product is too affordable, actually, at some level. But at the same time, you know, our audience, small business owners, small teams, 8 people, 10 people or less.
Yeah.
And they're struggling with figuring out how much to charge or how much to pay for things.
Right.
You know, and what sucks is when you charge per user. I know most of the industry does this. When you charge per user, you're penalizing people when they grow.
Right.
I just don't feel good about that. I don't feel good about it. So that's not to say that we won't experiment with that, but we haven't so far. I do think we should charge more. Basecamp 3 actually became even more affordable than Basecamp 2.
A lot more affordable.
It did, and please check it out. But it's and Basecamp 3 is more powerful than 2, and the price went down. And really, shouldn't that be how it is? Like, isn't that the promise of this stuff? Which is like, everything's becoming cheaper to provide, everything's becoming cheaper to do, yet products are getting more expensive. That doesn't seem like the right path for me. I do think that we should be charging more, though. I think there's certain people who are getting extreme bargains, and I'm okay with that, but I think we could certainly charge people more.
Well, it's this whole thing. I mean, when we started, all of our events were free, and what we found is people treated it like it was a free thing.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with that.
And then when we started charging, actually, we dramatically improved the quality of the people.
Yes.
People stopped complaining
Yes.
when they charge. It was
Yeah.
just this, you know.
So, completely agree. To reiterate, like we're doing fine.
Yeah.
And so, are we leaving money on the table? Certainly. Do I need to squeeze out every penny out of somebody? No, I don't like to do that. I'm not interested in optimizing till the nth degree.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're very fair. I think we deliver a wonderful, wonderful product. I think we treat people well. And maybe we're giving too good of a bargain, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'd rather be on that
that's
end
a
of it.
nice criticism.
Yeah, I'd rather be on the end of that.
Tell us about Basecamp 3. For those that have used the previous versions,
Yeah.
what is so different? It is fundamentally different
It is.
than what has existed in the past.
So
Why?
what we've learned over the past 12 years building Basecamp is there's about 6 things that every team needs to work together, okay? You need a way to hash some stuff out really quickly. That's what chat is. So campfire chat is built into Basecamp. You need a way to post official announcements and have long-form discussions where someone can make a thorough pitch and people can comment and take their time to respond. That's the message board in Basecamp. So we have chat, we have a message board. You need to organize and divvy up work that needs to get done. That's to-dos. You can assign to-dos, put dates on them, that sort of thing. You need to keep track of all the artifacts that you're working on, like PDFs and image files and documents and spreadsheets and all the artifacts of work. So you need to keep track of that. Basecamp has that. Everyone needs to know what the major deadlines are and milestones. So we have that. And the last thing we have is what's called automatic check-ins, which is the biggest new feature in Basecamp, which allows Basecamp to go out and ask your team questions on a regular basis and pull out all that data back in, like what'd you work on today? What do you plan on working on this week? What's something that inspired you over the past month? are we doing a good job? You know, what was a difficult case you had this week? That's what our customer service team is asked on a weekly basis. And what we found is that if you want to know what people are working on, you've got to ask them, because they don't volunteer all the time. But if a person's doing it, it's nagging. If a system's doing it, it's the system, and it's different. So Basecamp has those 6 things: chat, message boards, to-dos, file storage, schedules, and automatic check-ins, all in one package. So you don't have to buy 6 different products. You don't have to pay crazy amounts of money. But even more so, when you have everything in one place, everybody knows where everything is, everyone knows what they need to do, and nothing slips through the cracks. The more products you have, the more seams there are, and whenever you have seams, things can slide through. And so we're trying to say, you don't need seams. Seams are actually bad. And all you need is this one thing, and that's what we found, that those are the fundamental core things teams need. And so Basecamp 3 is built around those 6 things. Previous versions of Basecamp were built around fewer things.
And where is it going? The next few years of Basecamp, what does it look like? What are you doing? What are you building?
The biggest focus, strategically, is on peacefulness. So I believe that I would like to promise, and we can't make this promise today, but I'd like to promise every customer that if they implement Basecamp 3 in their company, it'll be a calmer, more peaceful place to work. I think that we are overrun by notifications. We're overrun by ASAP. We're ASAP like now. We're overrun by pay attention to this all the time. We're overrun by this needs everyone's attention immediately. I don't think that that is a healthy, sustainable way to work. So I want Basecamp to be about a peaceful way to work, a calmer way to work. And that's a fundamental strategic vision for the product. How we get there, we have a wide variety of things we're beginning to implement around that. We have a feature in Basecamp 3 called Work Can Wait, which is a feature that lets you, and this is the only product in the world that does this, hopefully people copy us, that lets you set your own work schedule. So mine's from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, basically. And then after those hours, Basecamp will not send me a single notification. So it's not about do not disturb during the day. It's about at 5:01, I don't hear from Basecamp again until 9 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah.
And I can go in myself and check it out if I want to, but when I'm with my son at 7 o'clock at night, or when I'm taking a walk on Saturday at 4 o'clock, that is not work time. Work does not deserve that time from me. And I want to make sure Basecamp, as a product, has that principle so we can help other companies be more mindful about other people's time outside of work. Your company does not own your Saturdays. It does not own your Sundays, and it does not own 8 o'clock at night. It does not. And thank you. And this industry, more than most, thinks it does. And I think that's bullshit. And so we want to push back on that as hard as we can. And also, even during the day, it doesn't own every moment of your day. You got to have time to think. You've got to have time to work. And I think there's unreasonable expectations being set right now by companies trying to take all your time away, doing all these other things, and then expecting you to do work at the same time. That's what's eating into your weekends, eating into your weeknights. So we want to kind of try and push back on that. Long answer, but that's where we want to go.
I'm going to take a Friday off because of this talk.
Please, man.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
really
that was
appreciate
fun.
it.
Thanks
for
so
being
much.
here.
Thank you. Thank you.